What's up, YouTube? I wanted to show you guys how I'm recording these drums today, how I get them into my interface, and how I load them into Ableton to make you guys videos and stuff for your social media content. So I'm going to go over this real quick. I've got my lovely Yamaha Stage Custom here, and we got these 4 mics. 3 for your toms, 1 for your snare, that are all the same size, that come with the digital reference DRD K7 kit. You get 2 overhead condensers that come with it. And right in the back there, you get a kick drum mic that I have in my ported hole. Now, all these guys, obviously, you gotta mic them up and all that. They are running back to this small snake I have back here. This is gonna be a little complicated to see. It's not a snake, it's just a bunch of wires taped together. And they're going back into my Behringer interface. You can see they're all plugged into there, just like that, all my inputs. I forget exactly how I have these set up for my inputs, like which one's which. I can remember once I go over to the other side, but they're all plugged into the back in my inputs on my Behringer interface. And because the back of that only has 6 inputs, and I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the kick, I have to use an extra up here. So this guy is the Behringer UMC 1820. You can tell I have all my gain knobs for each up here. There's a line/instrument button and a pad button on all of them, and then I have 48 phantom power options out here. This is your main volume. That this thing also connects to my studio monitors, and then I have 2 headphone outs here. I send one out to the iRig, and I'll get to that in a second, and then this is for my headphones, so I'm going here. So all that's plugged into this Behringer UMC 1820. From there, there's a USB cable that comes out of that, and that goes into my MacBook. Now, where do we go from here? Well, when you come to Ableton, you open it up. You're going to need to load yourself up however many tracks you have for your mics. So I have a kick, snare, tom, and 2 overheads. Now I have these grouped for different reasons because I'm using different effects on them, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But you need an audio track for every mic. So if you don't know how to make an audio track, you're going to come down here, you're going to right click or double click, and you're going to insert audio track, and that's going to put a new track up there for you, okay? So that's how you do that. So you need to create all these tracks. Now what do you do after you create all the tracks? You need to go into your preferences. And sorry, I should be up to date with screen sharing by now, but I'm going to make this very simple. You need to go to your audio settings. You need to have your input be whatever your interface is, right? So we click that, and your output be also your interface, or wherever you want to go out. If you want to go out the headphone jack in your laptop, you can choose the built-in output, but I'm running my headphones back out of my interface, so I'm also going to choose the interface. Now, we're not done in this tab yet. When you click these in, your setup, you have your, whatever your main audio driver is here, that's fine. You're probably only going to have one option. Remember, this is for MacBook, guys. You're going to go to your input configuration. Now, we're running the mics in mono. We don't want to do stereo because this will combine, 1 and 2 into one input here. We don't need these. We can use these for other things, but we're not going to use these for drum mics. So we want the mono inputs. Remember, we have 7, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have 7 mics. So we're going to need 7, so we have to click the 7 and 8 as well. So once that's routed, you're going to come out here, get out of your preferences, and we're going to come over to these tracks quick. When I pull this down, I open it up a bit, right? Maybe yours is hidden, maybe it's not. All of these are going to have this. Now remember, ignore the groups for a second, because you can see this group, it groups the whole thing. There's a group in a group. You're going to want to take these and you're going to name it. And whatever input your kick is coming in on your interface, remember, they'll be labeled. This will be your 1 and 2, input 1 and 2. You can see right there on the bottom. Well, my kick is in input 3. So when I click this drop down, I click input 3 for my kick. Next, for the snare, it's in input 4. So I click input 4. Now remember, if you're here and you don't see anything, you just need to grab this, open it up a bit more, and you can, you know, find your box there. So you click that, you set it in, and then you just go through and you need to check your gain inputs on your knobs, and then make sure it is lining up in here for everything you've got going on. You don't want to see any red clipping over here. You want everything kind of in the green when you're hitting it the hardest. And then you're gonna, I'm not gonna show you how to mix everything today, but you're gonna mix everything together. Now, when you want to record, when you want to go up here and you hit the record button, right? And does your count off, and then it starts recording all the tracks, right? How do I get all of these going and recording at once? I have no fucking clue how to do that, right? This is what you do. You go over here. You want to make sure that's armed, right? When that's in the red, that means armed. That means you're going to record that track when you hit the record button. Now I go down here to the snare, and I hit arm. Now what happens? Oh, the kick gets unarmed. So what do? I hold down the command button and I click at the same time while I click that one. Okay, cool. Now I need to make sure all of these are armed when I do this. So I hold down the command button, I click the arm, I hold down the command button, I click the arm, I hold down the command button, click arm. Now you want to make sure you do this for every track. Cool. Now everything that matters, remember, this is not part of this. You see I got the 2 overheads, 3 toms, kick and snare. This is for when I drop an audio track in that I want to play to, like a drumless track or something that I get off of YouTube or from Shed Tracks. I drop it into here, and this is where I mix my volume. This guy right here. I click and I drag up or down to set the volume, right? Same with everything else. And then after all that's done, I have my other headphone output. And you don't have to do it this way. You can just record into here, and you can send the audio track out to a video editor and place it over your video that you take with your iPhone. But what I do is I take this, right? It's a 1/4-inch cable, just like this, out of the other headphone output. And I take this right here, right? 1/4-inch cable from there is going into this side, and it has a little guitar tab in this iRig. And then this side is literally just a USB that will go out and hook up to your iPhone, right? You guys can see that. You guys can tell what kind of shit that is. You plug that into your iPhone. The moment you plug it in, this light comes on. It turns blue to show you that it's working. You don't need any extra power with this thing. You just plug it into your iPhone, right? This is an iRig HD2. It'll turn blue. Now, you go and you take a video, you go into your iPhone, take a video, and you hit record, and then you play your track. You go on here, you have your track loaded up down here, whatever, and you hit play, right? And you see how everything is sounding, whatnot, and then you check your drum mics, you make sure everything sounds good, and now, the way you test that is you're running your other headphone output to your headphones, and you can tell from there, because you don't want your speakers running when you're recording your mics, right? So you run to your headphone output out of this Behringer UMC 1820 to hear how everything sounds in there, and then you use your iRig to get it out to your phone, and then you can set it up on your, what's this thing fucking called, a ring light, where I have, you know, this guy that I can set my phone into, leave here, and take all my videos. And that's the very basics of what I use for everything. Behringer UMC 1820 for my interface is very cheap. These drum mics were $119 for the full pack of them. I'm using everything. You obviously got to get your own stands and shit. And then I use Ableton to record everything. And then I use this wonderful iRig HD2 to send everything out to my phone. And that's exactly how you set up to start running tracks.